Hello, winners. Welcome to a long-awaited Scattered Thoughts. I have been gone for a while. I'm sorry.
I've been here. I've been here alone, and scattered monologue doesn't sound as good.
Dude, my pants match your couch.
Holy shit, they do!
Well, I mean, not actually, but the black and the white makes
yeah,
the gray,
it does.
Makes the gray look good.
Me. Oh
So-
shit, I just realized that's my school, like, all over that.
Yeah. So, today we're gonna go over how we feel about the upcoming virtual reality peripherals that are coming to us this year, and just what it's gonna be like to get our hands or anyone's hands on something like that, and what it's gonna be like to try and get that in like every household like they want to.
Maybe we'll have to come together in some sort of agreement, and we'll all just pitch in money and pass it around since, you know, Sony doesn't love us that much.
Clearly, obviously, we're gonna get the PlayStation VR.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get the
Because we're
PlayStation.
PlayStation fans, and we all have PlayStations.
It's not that we don't like computer or Xbox, it's that
We just don't have them.
we don't have them, we can't afford all the extra stuff, and our YouTube channel is not big enough for me to justify to the missus, like, hey, honey, I'm gonna go out and spend $500 on an Xbox.
So, I have a Game Informer that my brother let me borrow that's been pretty insightful. The one VR peripheral that they did not include in there that I had seen before is called Gear VR, which is like the HTC Vive in the aspect that you plug it into your phone and put your phone to your face, and you have virtual reality based on your phone. I think the Gear VR came out first and has been out for a little bit. Because that's what that one kid had. You can play like Temple Run and stuff on it.
Yeah, like something.
It's pretty cool. Terrible in a car. Like I played it in a car on the way to go to lunch.
Oh god.
And I was constantly having to like move around because the gyroscopes and everything in the headset kept telling me I was looking this way and then this way and then this way.
Oh.
Because you know you're turning. And moving. So it was pretty good. But I sat in Chick-fil-A and messed around with it. So I mean, as far as I have already had a slight introduction to virtual reality.
I have too.
What'd you get your hands on?
There was a game that came out in like early 2000.
Is
like,
it a Virtual Boy?
I don't know.
Oh, you said early 2000.
Yeah, it was like it might have been early. It might have been really late 90s. I wouldn't say it was
at
at least.
a lot of red, and did you hurt your eyes?
No, it was not a Virtual Boy, but I did play with a Virtual Boy. No, it was like Ninja Master or something like that. And it was literally like, do you remember those games you used to get? It was like baseball and football, it was just like the men.
Oh, on the little.
Yeah,
thing?
and you just
Yeah.
all right. So it was like that, except there were ninjas, and then you had to like tape stuff, like you had to Velcro stuff to your hands, and you had to like throw. Oh god, it was
okay.
god awful. Like my friends and I kept on trying to like co-op that. Yeah, that doesn't work well.
I had actually thought about like how far off VR really would be, because I remember I think it's just called Beachhead. It's like an arcade game that has like this big yellow thing that you pull down over your head, and you're like looking around.
And you had the gun. You could like
shoot,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's called Beachhead, but like I was like, why haven't we turned that into a thing? I played that in arcades when I was in like middle school. Like,
See, now here's one of the few things. Like
it is a big arcade cabinet though.
it is. Now I'm the more reserved of us about VR just because. And you work a lot too. Like occasionally, like when I have a day off and I can game like nonstop. VR would be fun. However, it's the idea of like coming home late at night, not wanting to bother anyone in the house. And it's like, oh, like we're really excited for Gorilla's game Rigs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
Gorilla, like I love all the Killzone games. I'm super excited for Horizon. Beside the point, Rigs, it's gonna be like I'm gonna come home late at night and I'm gonna be like, oh, everyone's on Rigs. Let me fumble around in the dark to find my goggles to make sure that they were charged. And it's not like I don't charge things, but just.
On the off chance, I didn't plug
it in, and then it's just like, oh. So that's my only reservation. But no, I remember Beachhead really well. But here's like the one thing I would love to see. Sorry, my stomach is talking to me like crazy. Do you remember Real Steel? Armored Battalion, Real Steel?
Yeah, we had the huge
Could you imagine
pad on
that
it
with
and
like
everything?
VR? Like just going like eat, because especially with the ones that they have now.
It would be good for like mech fighters, like
Yeah, it'd be
Iron
like-
Battalion, but
That's what it was, Iron Battalion, where you had the huge. You just sit like this.
they have one at PlayStation at Sage Mantis. He's got one. It's like he's selling it for like $180.
Oh, those things are ridiculously expensive. I would totally go into like getting that.
It's a full like dashboard of buttons and switches.
Did you ever
and
watch
stuff.
You should go watch the Switcher, the Best Friends Play. They did a Mecha Week, and they went between Super and like
Real Robot?
Real Robot.
Yeah.
because they did Zone of the Enders, and I was like, I gotta watch this.
Right.
And they play it, and that's off topic. But so you're excited about VR? I'm not.
I mean, it's like we both have our excitements and trepidations about it. For me, I'm excited because way early on, they had talked about, back when it was Project Morpheus, they had talked about being in partnership with NASA. And I really, like, everyone speculated and everything, but I really honestly hope that probably either later this year or next year, when NASA has put together whatever it is that they told Sony that they were working with them for, is like just straight live video feed of the Mars rover. And just being able to be on any of those cameras and look around Mars in your living room. Or
I think that just made the $400 worth it.
Yeah.
Like, I think I can just now walk in and be
or be on a satellite or on a telescope and be able to look at either what astronomers are looking at, or be able to just kind of freely look at stuff through.
Like, what does the sun actually look like?
Yeah, like just like vicariously using your VR to tap into NASA's equipment to look at stuff in space, which I'm sure is also a really big thing for NASA, because Obama cut all of our space research. So you're recruiting a ton of people in their living rooms to look at stuff in space and see stuff, and then it's gonna get passed around. Everyone's gonna be like, "Yo, did you see that weird rock that was moving on Mars?" And yeah.
And honestly, it's really funny. You think about things like that, like when people like start posting stuff, like with PlayStation right now is if we were to be streaming this live, which I've been thinking about. I don't know why we're not doing that now. We'll need to do that.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. If we stream this live and do this podcast, we can put it up on YouTube, and it's like, hey, we found something exciting on Mars rover, and like we start exclaiming that, type it in the chat real quick, boom, chat starts blowing up, and then it's like, okay, now NASA's gonna look and be like, where were they at what time?
Right,
and they can
exactly.
go back.
And they'll trace it and look back at all their footage and everything, and really get into it.
And then you think about it though, like all the times, like people, like somebody goes out, it's like it'll be like a real October Skies moment. Which is the Tobey Maguire rocket. So it'll be one of those things where it's like, imagine how many nerds who just like sit around on their couch all day and like,
just stare at space.
And then they become experts because they're like, well, I don't understand how this works. Boom. And then they're like posting like, hey guys, I think I figured something out. And like there might not be validity behind half of it.
And then you've seriously made a hive mind out of everyone on their couch.
Thanks, Obama. That's the plan. They're trying to make a hive mind out of America.
Exactly. Well, I mean, they're not just selling in America, but it's where we live, so
that's what matters.
Just as a quick gloss over, in case you don't know a whole lot about VR, there are three big contenders, and there's the one Gear VR, which is the one that I got my hands on. The Gear VR just uses your smartphone, plugs in, puts on the front of it, which is the same as HTC Vive, as far as I understand. I think you can operate it based off your PC, but you can plug your phone in it. That's Steam powered. Then you have the Oculus Rift that everyone knows about, that Facebook bought and all that business and junk with them. That is solely the device, and it has to run off of a computer. With the PlayStation VR, it uses the PS4 for all of its processing and everything, and just puts it onto your head-mounted display onto your VR headset like it's a TV screen on your face. So PlayStation's kind of the only one that has the VR that you will readily be able to play so long as you have a PlayStation, because it's the only thing that it works for. If you get an Oculus Rift, you have to have a computer to play it. Especially if you want to play on Xbox One, as far as I understand, you have to connect your Xbox to your computer and use Windows 10 to run the games and everything in VR. So if you were going to play Oculus Rift on Xbox One, you need a computer that runs Windows 10 to connect the two, to connect to the headset. You don't just connect the Oculus Rift to the Xbox One and play the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be pretty interesting. As far as I've been told, I haven't actually seen any figures or numbers or any solid ones anyway. It'll be pretty much between $400 to $600.
I know the PlayStation VR, it's gonna be like a console again. So it's gonna be like,
which is totally fine. It's brand new hardware, it's brand new technology that they're throwing out, and I feel like $400 is totally fair. I mean, especially in the sense of how much more it's going to add to the PlayStation, because the PlayStation is still going to have all of its own games that are running on AAA titles and stuff like that, and then there will be completely separate projects that people will develop for PlayStation VR. So it'll be a pretty rapidly expanding technology when it comes out. The price point's fair, especially since when the PS3 came out, it started at $600.
Oh,
yeah. So getting $400 for PS4, and then you wait until next Christmas, and then mommy and daddy can buy you another one. Yeah. So I'm excited for PlayStation VR. I don't overly care about how the Oculus Rift does or how the HTC Vive does, or much of the comparison of them, because I'm really focused on PlayStation VR.
Okay. No, it's not that I'm not excited about VR. I love dot hack. Like I'm a huge anime nerd, so I want a dot hack moment. Right. There are a lot of games that I actually think I would pick up and play.
Code Lyoko.
Oh, Code Lyoko.
I hate that show. I hate it so much.
Oh God. But, it had some really cool ideas, and that was just stupid.
Oh man, I couldn't get into the animation, either of them, the actual animated part or the CGI part.
Their foreheads were too big.
I couldn't. Yeah, I know.
Was it an American? That was like an American shot in anime, I think.
Maybe I don't remember.
But no, like I totally like I love dot hack and things like that. I like Sword Art. I've talked about that on Cartoon Saturdays. Selfless plug. And it's. I want that immersion, and like I said, there are a couple games like I think I would go out and buy Grand Theft Auto 5 if I could play it on the Morpheus first person mode.
They've been talking about that. Which for me would probably make the driving better, because I won't ever stop saying how terrible Rockstar gets driving in especially GTA 5. Anyway.
It would seem to me like just walking around that world. Like I actually think I would go pick up Fallout 2.
I don't know if they're gonna put
capabilities for
virtual reality support
for
it, but it would be cool.
It would Fallout cool. Walking around. I mean, we've all seen post-apocalyptic and gray and gritty, but like watching on a screen, it is that level of immersion. It's something that it's no longer like. Of course, like I might light a scented candle in here because I don't want my place to smell like Guy Funk, but
why not?
That'd be the real experience right there. Just sit someone in the locker room, put Fallout on virtual reality, and never know the difference. It smelled like a nuclear bomb went off. So that to me would be fantastic, and like a lot of those places, I think a lot of it would be experiences. Like No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky's been pushed back like what 6 times now?
I don't think it's been pushed back as long as they just show a ton of stuff in between when they said that it was going to come out.
I could see that coming out like right on with VR.
It would be really cool.
Like it'd be like, oh, by the way, and it's more, and it's like, oh, that because that like I'm not excited for that game.
But it's also down to have they been developing it to run with VR or not? Because it's like I remember watching when they first when Bro Shida, man, that was the stupidest thing. Shuhei Yoshida.
Okay.
When he announced the PlayStation VR at the Dev Expo, I don't remember the actual name of the expo that they had. They were going over a lot of the things to the developers that you need to be in tune with to understand this technology and stuff like that, and how different it is. Like they had an issue with like doors, and like having a headset on and walking through a door. You would scale it in game to be about like 7 feet. I think a door is like almost 7 feet.
Yeah, we'll get back to you on that one.
Yeah, okay.
We'll put a link in the comments.
You would scale a door to be its realistic size in game and such, but when you are in the VR and you're coming up to it, everything just feels like just way too out of scale and too funny, and you kind of lose the immersion of going through a door. So they had to kind of find a sweet spot of how you were supposed to do doorways opening, stuff like that, transitions to larger and smaller rooms and areas.
Do you remember? Well, honestly, this is quick. Like, honestly, because I've been watching guys play Resident Evil, the new, like the one, how they would just do it, and like your character would walk up to a door, and then it would like isolate the door, and it would show the door opening, but you never see anything, and just walk, but it would give you the steps. Like, I think that would actually work to fix. It would be a lot of load time. But it would be like
I think especially in the way that we're going now in games, I think load times are are being tried to be completely rid of.
Yes, they're like putting it in where it's like, oh, you might be loading, or you're going to this area, but you have to go through this long tunnel, and that long tunnel is your...
especially with how GTA does it, where they load everything first. One big loading screen in the beginning, and then
you're pretty much good.
You got the whole. They just got to generate the world, and then you're in it. There was also the idea of like, you know, when you're up against a wall, and then you like reach out or something, and you like touch the wall, if it would like stop your hand at the wall, or if it would have your hand go through the wall and kind of be like faded, like, you know, you're not actually like you're only making contact up to about here. They had figured it was like less immersive for it to stop you or stop your hand on the wall than if it were to show that your hand was going through it and clipping where your arm stops through the wall. Just in the sense of, hey, my hand's not doing that versus, hey, my hand is doing that. But that's a wall I can't go through.
Yeah, and the only other thing I could think of would be like if a wall came up at you, it'd be like a Family Guy moment where we're like, oh, hallway, a wall, and you'd be like freaked out the first time, like you actually give it too close to a wall. So the only question is like if they play with a controller, like I could see being able to like do this and still like walk around, or if it's like I'm going like this, but it's like, okay, I need to turn my character around using a controller. That way my character can like, you know, turn and...
I'm pretty sure they're still going to have that just so you're not whipping your head around constantly. Like, you can kind of, like, finally adjust where you're looking and then use...
Your gyro.
Yeah, your gyro. Which is kind of what I did for, like, Gravity Rush on Vita. Because, you know, trying to turn the Vita every direction to get under buildings and stuff was impossible. You kind of had to, like, turn the stick and then use it to finer tune what you're doing. I feel like... And I had said this before, but a bigger issue that's going to end up happening, and I see it happening, is the controversy of how immersive this new technology is, and how your children don't understand what's real and what isn't, and them killing on a video game in front of their eyes, and they feel it, and it's so real, and it vibrates in their hands, and they feel so good about it, and they take the headset off and forget that it was ever even a game.
I could see mild cases of PTSD coming out. Like, if Call of Duty were to like be like, hey, VR games, now go. And like Call of Duty VR, I could see some PTSD coming out of that.
Here's how I feel about it. I wouldn't want to restrict VR for like the younger audiences. I wouldn't want to restrict it for a certain age just because the eye strain is just not gonna be good. Especially like if you're a little kid and you're all into that overstimulation stuff like that, and then you're playing it for hours and hours and hours, and you are getting, you know, all of that. It wasn't immersion sickness. It was a different keyword that they had called it, where you don't line up what's going on in game with what's going on in real life, and you get nauseous and throw up and stuff like that.
Oh, that was like, God, because now you're telling me I know exactly what it was.
Yeah,
I can think of the name.
Here, actually, I can find it.
Right. Because, and I know one of the other big controversies they had, and I was getting this on the patch, was they were talking about like people, a lot of games with their simulation sickness. That's the other S word we were thinking of. A lot of people were like playing games like Mass Effect. Like Mass Effect, I think would be fantastic for this. Switch it to a first-person shooter, put it like this, but then it becomes like, okay, you come up to somebody, and this guy's been an asshole to you the entire time, and you know he's not on the level, but you can't really prove he's not on the level. You just you've seen it, but you can't prove it. Do you kick him out the window like you do in the game, or do you do the good guy thing and go, okay, we're gonna leave, and your buddy kicks him out the window for you? Like, it's one of those things where people are saying, oh no, they're now that the person's here.
Their moral decisions
are becoming
heavier.
So much harder.
Yeah,
which I think would be kind of like, because it would be one of those things like, now what would I like to do versus like you're gonna start to see like a little bit of that, like, how does a person really feel? Where it's like, oh, they've beaten the game already, now they're just going through it as an asshole just because.
Especially with I think it's Square Enix have made an engine about a woman crying, because that is like the most difficult thing to portray CGI wise.
Yes,
like that kind of emotion, that kind of like just all of the things the face does. You know. And they had gone through on like a whole separate thing on like the layers of skin, because you got like an oily layer and stuff like that to make it look more porous and real and stuff like that. which is just going to get crazy to the level of detail that people make games. But the fact that they have gotten to that point where we can motion capture really well, we can face capture really well, thanks to like Ali Noir and when Shadowfall first came out, and a whole bunch of games that have just really gotten facial recognition and structure really well, and then putting that in VR. And just having that be in front of you, because like half the time you can be like, oh, that's a game, I could tell their lips aren't synced up perfectly, like, you know, but then you get to the technology where everything does look that good, and then you have it all in your face.
All right, here's the other thing. You play a little bit of Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah.
All right. Can you play that in first person at all?
Absolutely.
Okay. Can you scale your character size? What would that be like playing that in first person? It's like, oh, like in real life, I'm a comfortable 6 foot on a good day. I'm a comfortable like 5'11", 6 foot on a decent day. And it's like, okay, well, and you know, in this game, like I'm not the most buff, like in shape dude. But if I go into like Elder Scrolls, and I'm like, well, I want to be an elf, and elves are notoriously taller. Like, would that be like dizzying to you? Like you're looking around, and now you're.
It depends though, because if you're an Altmer or a High Elf, you are taller. If you're a Bosmer or a Wood Elf, you are significantly shorter.
Well, I'd only be a High Elf. Come on, I'm gonna use my magic powers, you know, questionably.
Right, of course.
I know everything. I shouldn't do this, but I want to try it anyway. Yeah, and like that. Like the question is that then what would that be like to have that height difference? To, like look around?
Imagine you wouldn't really know up until you got to something. Like if you stood in front of a post and with one character you could see over a little bit better, but another character you're kind of like looking into it.
Yeah, or it's like I'm used to seeing you, and now it's like, or I'm not used to like looking over a bunch of people. Like I understand if like there were dwarves, and it's like okay, all the dwarves are shorter. I get that. Like those people exist in our real society. Right. But then it's like I've never stood like as tall as Shaq and walked around, and I haven't walked on stilts in years. So it's like, what would that feel like? I think some of those would be my favorite experiences.
It'll definitely be interesting. It'll definitely kind of be a little more off-putting immersion-wise, because it's not so much tailored to you like you are in it, because you are then personifying yourself on your avatar. I think it'd be good fun though.
I think I'd buy a lot more games that were like adventure-y, not like a Lara Croft or an Uncharted, but I'd want to play No Man's Sky. Just because, like, just getting on a planet and just, like, looking around and being like, I have no idea what's going on.
Everyone is excited for No Man's Sky.
I'm honestly not. VR has me excited for No Man's Sky, but other than that, I'm like, it's like Star Citizen. I'm like, okay.
I mean, I guess. It's crazy.
It looks really cool. I'm going to give it that.
The algorithms and the systems that they have in set for that game is highly impressive.
It is. I'm just, like, I don't know what will really be going on. Like, I want more of, like, a plot.
It's... You make your plot. You start, you find your first planet, everyone's on a completely different planet, and then you'll come across other people and such. But there'll be space battles, and you'll tear planets apart, and you'll trade with people, and you'll trade ships with people, and you'll form space pirate gangs, and you'll raid other people's ships, and you'll
be an asshole, you'll be a good guy.
It'll be a whole thing. It'll be huge. It'll be huge.
But that's it. That was actually my alarm going off. That's why I glanced at my phone there.
Okay. I mean, I think we covered a fair bit about it. Like, honestly, you can just go on the internet, look up any one of them, get all of their stats and everything, and how they compare to each other in that sense. This is just more about how we feel about how it's going to be.
I'm excited to explore with it. That's my most exciting thing, was be exploring with that.
I'm just excited to see later down the road this year when they update it and stuff and kind of work through the bugs of actually putting into full field testing, and just how kind of long it takes until everyone's got one. So it'll definitely be more exciting as time goes on, and we can start seeing some real tangible stuff that's not just a showcase at an expo. So
yeah. It's not just a 5. Yeah. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr, because you manage that.
I do. And it's just full of nonsense, but follow it anyway. And definitely share this with your friends. Talk about VR. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, post links in the comments. We'll talk to you. I'll talk back to you. We'll figure out a way to talk back to you.
Bye, Wendy.